Hello tea fanatic, welcome to Chef the Tea channel. I'm Bonnie, your fellow tea fanatic. Today I'm going to try to help you sort through a very confusing topic, that is the world of Tisane herbal blended scented teas. In Chinese they often refer as hua cha, and then even then, you know, it can be very convoluted and confusing. So to help you better navigate this world, I like to separate it in my own 3 categories. So the first is going to be Tisane, or what we call herbal teas, right? Now, so this is a category that's great for those of you maybe too sensitive to caffeine, or you don't like caffeine in general, and you just want something that's delicious and easy to get a hold of, right? So a lot of times when I ask people, what kind of tea do you like? And one of the response I get would be like chamomile, right? Mint or chrysanthemum, right? So these is what I call, we consider Tisane, right? It just, because it's just made of either herbs or flower or dry fruit, right? It doesn't have any tea leaf in it. No leaf from the Camellia sinensis family. So for example, this is a perfect, this is a beautiful chrysanthemum from the Yellow Mountain range, and this is a tea. When you brew it, opens up beautifully, and it's very sweet and mild, and I can brew this over and over again. So in essence, so that's what we refer to as Tisane. And now the second category you can look at it would be the world of blended teas. Now blended tea will have tea leaves in it, and they'll blend other items into it. Perfect example of this is going to be, let's say, Earl Grey, right? So it's black tea, but they blended bergamot oil into it. So at times, like the high-end European houses, they like to do a lot of different kind of blend, right? Whether it's like black tea with lavender, or sometimes, you know, a white tea with rose petals. So they would select different, tea houses would select different grades of dry fruit or dry flower or herbs or different things and add into it. So that's very common. For example, for those of you who's familiar with the dim sum restaurants, right? Especially like in Hong Kong, is very popular here in LA too, is that something called gok po, which is chrysanthemum and pu'er. So they put those 2 things together, right? And that's another example of blended tea. And the quality of blended teas in this category, it varies very greatly, right? So if you choose the very nice high quality tea leaf, and you choose the high quality herbs and dry fruits and whatnot, and you put them together, and you have a very pleasant sort of result, right? But a lot of times, the more mass produced one, the teas are very, for the lack of a word, crappy, and they're not very pleasant. So they, doesn't matter what you put in it, it might smell good, but when you drink it, it's not great on the palate. So sometimes to offset that, I have seen, you know, they would add like flavoring agent, or sometimes artificial flavoring, or even natural flavoring. And that's why sometimes some of the blend teas smells very potpourri, something that you might want to hang in the car, but not really drinking it. But you know, some of them, when it's done right, it can be very pleasant. So at the end of the day, you have to read the label and drink it and experience it, right? Now the third category is called, I consider the most pleasant one, the one that I enjoy the most, is called traditionally scented tea. So in China, the tradition of scenting tea leaf with various flowers goes back well over 1,000 years. And a perfect example of it would be jasmine tea, right? The traditionally crafted jasmine tea, they would take tea leaves, and then they actually would take fresh flower and then mix them together, and they allow the tea to absorb all the great flavors, the aromatics really. And then in the case of jasmine, they'll sift and get rid of the flower. Or in the cases where, like, let's say asbestos black tea, they would scent the tea leaf, and then they would keep the flower, because the flower still, the dry flower still has a lot of aroma. So in this world of scented tea, sometimes you'll find dry flowers in them, and sometimes you won't. It depends on the type of flower. Now, why is a scented scented teas more pleasant? Because it's such a labor-intensive process. A lot of times, if you look for the hand-picked leaves, those the higher-end leaves that they use to scenting, I use a much more pleasant tea. And also because it was scented, so like when you brew that tea, the same, let's say a few grams of leaf, you can actually brew it many times. Like if, for example, we have some jasmine tea that you will literally brew, I would say 9 to 10 times in a gaiwan, right? And then there'll still be like jasmine fragrance in the tea leaf because it's absorbed like many times into the tea leaf itself. So when you do the blended teas, usually you do a couple of brews and the aromatic goes away pretty quick. So hopefully this sheds a light on this category of herbal tisane, floral teas, and will help you decide what you like the most. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and we're happy to look at them and answer them. Meanwhile, drink lots of good tea, and we'll see you next time.